Sasha in Kent, Washington. You're on the air with Representative Pocan.
Well, thank you. Representative Pocan, I am calling about the Medicare disadvantage plans. I just received the booklet from the government, and it is calling Medicare original Medicare. It is furious. The first 19 pages, they talk about original Medicare, and then the remaining 62 pages are an advertisement skillfully written for these disadvantage programs. They should not be allowed to even use the word Medicare. C stands for commercial. What can be done? I realize it's expensive to print these publications, but this is so misleading. For example, what are my rights if my plan stops participating in Medicare? And, I made notes. They make it sound like Medicare has problems when actually it doesn't. Primary care doctor.
I wonder if this was something that was written back during the Trump administration. Sasha,
Exactly.
let's get the Congressman's response.
Yeah, so I think you're going to like something that we're going to be introducing next week. In fact, Thom and I may be talking later today because many of the callers on this program have brought this issue up, and it's something that Ro Khanna and I have talked about, as well as other members. Medicare is Medicare and anything else is not, and yet they're all using Medicare in their name. But you're just saying to start calling things original Medicare versus other, that's a real problem. We are going to be putting a bill out there to not allow other programs to be called Medicare in their name, because only Medicare is Medicare. And, to be fair, there are times if you are a healthier person that some of these programs can provide some extra benefits, but there's still all kinds of loops, all kinds of hoops you have to jump through still to get some of the services. However, for many, many people, and over half the people now are on these plans, they are extremely difficult for people to access their benefits. I'll just give one quick example, Thom, if I can. My mom recently passed away this year, and she was on these plans. She would sign up. Person came by who was very nice. She thought it gave her one extra two benefits. I think it was around maybe vision or something. And but the reality is there was a service that she needed at the assisted living center that a medical professional came in and delivered in the building, but because she wasn't on Medicare, she couldn't access. She would have had to leave the building and go somewhere else in the town she lived in, and she wasn't very mobile to get around. So she never could get the service she needed that was provided in the building she was living because she didn't have Medicare. She had one of these alternative plans. That's the story we hear all too often, and that's why one thing we think we can do is to try to make it so they can't use Medicare in the name. There's some other ideas that we're still talking through. We're trying to figure out because, there's some, would it make sense to allow people to get out of a plan earlier? The only problem is if you do that, does that encourage more people to get on a plan because they think they're saving a little bit, but then they can get off of it? Does that actually grow the plans or shrink them? And I think there's some controversy. We're trying to figure out how to address this very issue.